Welcome back to This is Live, the Sunday talk show here on the Arise News channel. I still have with me the usual team, Professor Bola Akintenuwa, Yemi Adamolekun, Executive Director, Enough is Enough, and Professor David Aurawa, Professor of International Relations and Strategic Studies at the University of Lagos. Now we have our second guest who is ready to take on the other subjects of the day. Reactions have continued to trail a call earlier in the week by Chief Afe Babalola, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, for the suspension of the 2023 general election and the installation of an interim government. The senior lawyer had told a press conference that in the face of myriad challenges militating against preparations for those elections, the government should resort to postponement, put its house in order, and then find a new date for the polls. But some members of the legal community and the Pan-Yoruba socio-political group, Afenifere, among other stakeholders, say there was a need for a new constitution, adding that having an interim government in place would not augur well for the country. Now joining us to discuss this matter is Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Mike Ozekhome, the Akpakpa Vigi of Edoland. PhD, OFR, SAN, LLD, everything combined. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Michael Ozekhome, SAN, the Akpakpa Vigi of Edoland. Is there any legal framework on which Chief Afe Babalola, SAN, can peg his proposal that the 2023 elections should be postponed just because, according to him, we need first to work on the Constitution, the same Constitution that we've been talking about since 1999. Political conferences, one after the other. And now, at this last minute, less than 7 months to go, Chief Afe Babalola, SAN, elder statesman, says no, forget about the election. What is the legal framework for that?
Well, let me start by saying that Chief Afe Babalola is a very, very distinguished Nigerian patriot and a very senior citizen, well over 93 years old. To that extent, no one can accuse Afe Babalola of being flippant or making statements for the sake of it in expectation of anything. As a nonagenarian, he needs nothing. Indeed, he has arguably the best university in Nigeria today, and rated one of the best in Africa. And that is why his call was to be given some sober reflection and a lot of introspection and thinking, that this is not coming from a rabble-rouser or from a narcissist, but from a distinguished Nigerian patriot. But whether there is a legal framework or not is another question entirely. There is, however, what you call the doctrine of necessity, under which certain unusual things are done to save a certain situation. But clearly, as a constitutional lawyer, I must be very clear about this, that the Constitution abhors military coup d'etats. And it is specifically provided for in Section 1, Subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution, that this Constitution shall be supreme. And if any other law is inconsistent with this Constitution, that other law shall, to the extent of the inconsistency, be null and void. You will find that in Section 1, Subsection 1, and Section 1, Subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution. That means for you to talk about an interim government, it will no doubt mean a relegation or an abolition of the Constitution to bring about another interim government, contrary to the provisions of Section 1, Subsection 2 of the Constitution, which says no person or authority shall take over the control of the government of the Federation, except in accordance with this Constitution. It means that in accordance with the Constitution, you have to elect a president, a governor, senators, House of Reps members, House of Assemblies, chairman of local government council, and councillors. That is what the Constitution is saying. So looking at it from that angle, can we critically examine the IRS proposition within other parameters of the Constitution? Are things right in Nigeria? Can anybody, any sane Nigerian swear, today is Sunday, by the Holy Bible, or those who are Muslims, swear by the Holy Quran, or those who are idol or iron worshippers, swear by Ogun, the god of iron, that all is well in Nigeria, with the current cataclysmic issues that bedevil us, that stare us in the face, with Nigeria being reduced to a sprawling field of bloodbath, crimson bloodbath, hot, people killed in their homes, on their farms, on the streets, in the markets, in schools, on the air, on the waters, even military being taken out of their barracks, like the Kaduna Defense Academy, and being slaughtered. Boko Haram everywhere, armed banditry, kidnappers, with kidnappers even demanding from parents of kidnapped children, like they did in Kaduna, how they should buy bags of rice, bags of gari, tarodo, tatashe, tomatoes, ugba, palm oil, vegetable oil, to be cooking food for their children so as to fatten them for the day they will be released on ransom. Can anybody, any sane Nigeria, say that Nigeria is not actually in a state of serious depression where armed bandits are possessing equal or more potent power than the state, what we call a failed state or a failing state, in which in Niger State and Borno State, for example, Boko Haram and armed bandits have planted their flags in many local government areas, collecting taxes from indigents, giving them pass before they can pass. Can you say that is not a failed or failing state? So, looking at it from that angle, can anybody fault Afe Babalola for making this clarion call to say, hello, can we probably have an interim government to sort out ourselves? How does he see it? He may not have mentioned those sections. Section 217, 218, and 305 of the Constitution. Section 218, for example, 217 gives, and 218 give the president the operational powers and use of the armed forces of Nigeria. And the armed forces of Nigeria can be deployed in states of emergencies when the country is at war, when there is an imminent danger of invasion of the country, during serious national upheavals like pandemics. A state of emergency can be declared and the armed forces can be deployed. For example, the president can make an official proclamation, published in the official gazette of the federal government of Nigeria, and transmitted to the Senate and the House of Representatives that we need to declare a state of emergency in Nigeria because of these problems that we are having. People are already, we saw what happened in Imo State, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Some people that were hooded, they went to INEC office. One person was shot dead. And what the hooded killer was saying with all the other ones was that, you think you are going to hold elections here again? We will never allow any elections to hold. We will never allow any elections to hold. Will INEC, for example, be prepared to hold elections in a situation of imminent and present danger to lives and properties, as Section 305 also says? One of the reasons for declaration of emergency is imminent and present danger, and any other cause or any other cause, can we really say Nigeria is peaceful enough, like in 2015 and 2019, to hold free and fair elections? If the answer is no, then the theory of Afe Babalola becomes thrown up to the front burner to be discussed, but not to be dismissed with a wave of the hand. In discussing it, Ruben Abati, doctor, we must also look at the manifold effect, the possible dangerous consequences arising from it, knowing that on the 27th of August, 1993, IBB, fleeing from the barracks, fleeing from the presidency, when Nigeria said enough was enough with this your transfixion program of democratization. So, he hurriedly going, he stepped aside, as he put it, and put Ernest Shonekan on the 27th of August 1993. Ernest Shonekan was quickly made to have a vice president, Alhaji Chief Basharu MK Abiola, the very man who ought to have been the president, but who died in Aso Villa in mysterious circumstances. Ernest Shonekan's government could not last because, in spite of the eminent people he put in the cabinet, the government itself was considered illegitimate. The illegitimacy was actually declared by Dr. Dolapo Akinsanya, who now late, God bless the soul of that bold and courageous government. Chief Gani Fawemi went to court. We were all with Chief Gani Fawemi, and she declared that government of Ernest Shonekan illegal, null and void. And of course, Abacha came out later with his in-house military coup, though bloodless, on the 17th of November, 1993, barely 4 months after Shonekan, a business technocrat, former UAC chairman and all that, he had to be removed from office for us to have an Abacha who ruled for some time, and who himself, you know the circumstances of that which he died, whether due to eating of the apple or not, but he did die. And so, consequently, following that, Abiola also died in circumstances that were bizarre and extraordinary. And that led to the emergence of Abdulsalami Abubakar, who within 11 months with Admiral Okai Michael Akigbe was able to midwife the present democracy that we are again collectively and individually messing up, successfully holding elections at a time we did not even have a decree, a constitution. He had the election without a constitution before we now have decree number 24 of 1999 and the schedule attached to it called the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which is why many of us constitutional pundits like myself, humble self, Professor Nwabueze and others, will continue to say that the 1999 Constitution, being illegal, being illegitimate, not being autochthonous, not emerging from the people, not enjoying their acceptability, to that extent, the Constitution lied in itself when in its preamble it says, we, the people of Nigeria, do hereby give to ourselves the following Constitution. We never gave it. It was the 28 members of the Provisional Ruling Council of Abdulsalami Abubakar with a hurriedly set up panel headed by late Cerebral, may God bless his soul, Justice Nikki Toby. So that is where we are. What am I saying? I'm telling Nigerians not to dismiss with a wave of the hand the serious issue raised by Afe Babalola. It is an issue that we must interrogate its advantages, disadvantages, the way forward. Because when you talk about military coup d'etats and all that, which I personally don't believe in, because the military themselves have never shown themselves to be better. I always tell people, the military never write you a love letter to say, hello, we are coming. They watch under this, they watch the circumstances when they are so ripe, when there's despondency, there's melancholy, there's hopelessness, there is helplessness, there is poverty, there is human degradation, lack of rule of law, state of factionalization, and then they strike. That's what they normally do. That's what they did across the world. So we should not take our unity for granted by always saying, like I've said again and again, Nigeria is indissoluble, it's indivisible. Who told you so? Who told you so? Didn't Eritrea and Ethiopia think that? Didn't Southern Sudan and Sudan think that? Didn't Singapore and Malaysia think that? Didn't Pakistan, India, and Pakistan, India, and what's the other country? There were three. Didn't they think that they were indivisible? Didn't USSR think that, which is today fragmented into more than 40 countries, including the Ukraine, that is currently being battled by Russia? We must therefore nurture our unity, water it, and push Nigeria forward. Thank you.
Ozekhome, the main criticism against Chief Afe Babalola's position is that whatever he's saying is not new, it's not original. Many Nigerians have been canvassing the same viewpoint since the return to civilian rule in 1999. And that why now? Because all he's talking about is a review of the constitutional order. However, this is also about the elections. INEC is saying that it will need about 239 billion naira, total of 305 billion, to be able to conduct the elections. And INEC is saying, well, whatever anybody says, whether it's about constitution or about security challenges, that INEC is ready to conduct elections in 2023 and deliver on its mandate. Do you think that INEC has very sure grounds for that level of confidence?
Well, to me, INEC is the umpire, undoubtedly, under the Constitution. And when INEC beats his chest to say, we can hold elections, we must believe INEC. That was why earlier I proposed the National Assembly when they wanted to subject INEC to the National Communication Commission under their earlier amendment, which we defeated with public advocacy. INEC say, we are ready. We have the technology to transmit results electronically across the country, including the 774 local government areas. But the Senate of the National Assembly was saying, no, you cannot. Yeah, like Afe Babalola will say, you can't shave my head in my absence. You can't suffer my headache. So if INEC says they are ready, what is 305 billion naira? That is chicken change. That is what some people in Nigeria who are in positions of authority pocket, and they smile to the bank and they eulogize them. That's no money at all. How much in dollars is that? Divide 305 billion by about 580 dollars. I mean naira to the dollar. You will find that that is how much? It's nothing. It's chicken change in terms of strengthening and deepening the amplitude and plenitude of democracy, democratization, and democratic precepts. I don't think that's a big deal. It's not a big deal at all.
Okay, Chief Ozekhome, you say 305 billion or 239 billion that INEC is asking for is no big deal. But you recently wrote a piece protesting about the All Progressives Congress asking presidential candidates to put down 100 million naira to buy nomination forms and expression of interest forms, 50 million naira for governorship, and all the way down like that. So if you say 305 billion is chicken change, then of course, I mean, why are you so concerned about 100 million naira just to buy ordinary form? That should be even smaller chicken change. Isn't there a contradiction here?
No, there's no. Dr. Rube, you are missing 81. INEC is holding elections across the whole country, including presidential elections. More than 25 million Nigerians will vote. We vote at that election. And they are also holding governorship elections. They are holding senatorial elections, House of Assembly elections, across the country, 36 states, minus some few states that are staggered, and 774 local government areas. They need logistics. They need to deploy staff, including ad hoc one. These elections will take place across the country. Logistics, movement of vehicles, security deployment, soldiers, police. And we are talking of a mere 305 billion naira, if that is what it takes to save democracy. I am saying that in Nigeria, going by the anti-corruption perception index of Transparency International, we have seen many Nigerians going to court, being taken to court for an amount nearly that single individuals. What is 305 billion? So there is no contradiction when I now say that in order to deepen democracy, you need to open up the democratic space and make the ground, make it level for all political players in accordance with Section 14 of the Constitution. Now, if you are telling the APC, PDP and APC are suffering from the same malaise, the same affliction. But PDP is even better. PDP says 40 million for presidential form as an opposition. APC, the ruling party, that should lead by showing an example, is saying 100 million naira for you to procure a presidential form. Do you know what they are saying? They are telling the presidential person, when you get there, go and steal as much as possible. Why am I saying that? In 2015, President Buhari said he couldn't buy his nomination form. So it took some people, according to him, that it was some people who purchased the form for him. It was 27.5 million naira. In 2019, the thing came down to about, I think, 45 million naira. And then in the year 2022, you are saying 100 million naira. In the article I wrote, I did a careful microscopic analysis of this sum. And I said, President Buhari is earning about 4.5 million naira per annum now. And Oshibanjo, who is running, the vice president, is earning 12.1 million naira per annum. The governors, under the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission Act, Section 32D, by going by the salaries they have fixed, governors earn a little over 2 million, and senators a little over 2 million naira. So my analysis shows that it will take the vice president, for example, over 50 years, over 60 years, governors, some of them over 145 years, some over 55 years, to earn that 100 million naira. If they were to earn this money legitimately, without preferring our national commonwealth or our national resources, it will take some of them between 45 and 135 years to earn 100 million naira. And my take on it is that by so doing, you are conscripting the democratic space, particularly against the youth and the women, in spite of the Not Too Young to Run Act, passed in August into an act of parliament, passed in August 2018 by President Buhari himself, where we're learning youth in Nigeria between the age of 35 and 45 get 100 million naira to go and buy a form to run for the presidency. Which woman in Nigeria, except the elderly ones who are already very old and they are not coming out in politics, we have 100 million naira to run. So by doing that, you have already marginalized and emasculated a large segment of the society, telling them you cannot run. And that is not good for our democracy. So in my article, I analyze it and say what they are doing is they are saying we want a government of gerontocracy, a government of the elders, or a government of plutocracy. That's a government of the rich, or a government of oligarchy, a government of select few. That is what they are praying for. I'm concerned about what happens in APC, PDP, APGA, and any other party, because I'm a detribalized Nigerian, non-partisan. I don't carry the political card of any political party. So I'm therefore in a position as a patriotic Nigerian to interrogate issues very, very critically, elaborately, and with the altruistically. That is why, Ruben, go and check me. Google Mike Ozekhome. Since the last 35 years, everything I've said, whether you can fault any of them, and whether like Nostradamus, the man who saw tomorrow, the oracle at Ileife, that peers into the future to pronounce the next all need to be, whether I had not always gotten it right, between 90% and 100%, every prognosis, every prophetic declarations I have made in the last 35 years of my life, because I analyzed them objectively, without sentiments, without emotions, without fear or favor, without reference to any political party. So I criticize both parties, PDP and APC, for that humongous. But the PDP is even better. Their own is 40 million. APC is more than double 40 million, 100 million.
Chief
So you are saying that only few people who are billionaires can be the next president of Nigeria. And that means Nigeria has been captured by state actors, and they will only go there to go and prefer.
Chief Ozekhome, before we go, just one more topic. Something that has been trending in the news today. And it's about somebody you know very well, President Goodluck Jonathan. Some people are saying that they are persuading him to throw his hat into the ring and return to the presidential villa. What do you think about this? Do you think this is just all about rumor? And as I told our previous guest, my name was even dragged into it, even when I've not said anything, but that's fine. Adoke Mohammed Adoke calls it the burden of service. When you get involved in the arena of governance in Nigeria, everything will be thrown at you for the rest of your life. But what do you think? Do you think, those persuaders, there's something to look at in that direction?
Well, Ruben, you must take it in your stride. You are a member of the fourth estate of the realm, the media, the press, recognized by Section 22 of the Constitution. So when you speak, you should expect mud to be thrown at you. But take it like that story of the garbage heap, where they bring the garbage heap to heap on you, shrug it off, return the garbage and say, I don't need it, and then go on with your job. I like your analysis, very deep, full of breadth and depth. So you can't expect to please everybody, just as like my analysis here today will not please everybody. And I'm not in any popularity contest. I don't want to ingratiate myself to anybody. I say it with the fear of God, so that if I drop dead, I will be able to face my God and say, Baba, yes, I said so. I defend it. I will defend it before God again. And it must satisfy my conscience. That is why I've refused to belong to any political party. That's why I handle cases for the low and the mighty and the top echelon of both APC and PDP, because they see me as non-compromisable. Having said that, I will say that it is the right of President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan to contest any election. That statement that man made, my ambition is not worth the drop of blood of any Nigerian. We continue to resonate across the length and breadth of this world. It inducted him into the pantheon, into the hall of fame, of heroes. It is the equivalent of Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Declaration of 19th November 1863, when he defined democracy as government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Such statements are ineffable, they are inerasable, they are unforgettable, because they deal with humanity, with democracy, and the soul of it. To that extent, Jonathan is entitled to contest any election. But the questions he must watch out for, and which he must answer himself before taking the plunge, whether in APC or in PDP, are many. And let me put some of them to him publicly. If you are going to APC, In APC, within APC, there are already daggers drawn between combatants. For example, between the camp of Ahmed Bola Tinubu and the camp of Yemi Osinbajo, the vice president. Ahmed Bola Tinubu is a leader of the APC. He was the one who made Yemi Osinbajo his commissioner for justice and attorney general. And a lot of people came out and started saying, oh, Osinbajo is a Judas Iscariot. He's betraying Tinubu the same way they said, according to them, Ladoke Akintola betrayed Chief Obafemi Awolowo. I'm a historian, apart from being a lawyer. As regards my own thinking about all those, that's for another day. I've been an historian, an activist. But he has to ask himself the question, being given a wild card to come into APC or PDP, will it satisfy and make the people within that political party happy that this new person who is just coming in, and we are forgiving him, we say he should just come in, and then you are making him the presidential candidate? Will it be by consensus? I heard the APC saying they made the chairman, the former governor of Nasarawa State, their consensus candidate. Was it really consensual? The last time I checked, the dictionary definition of consensus, it means a total agreement, accord, ad idem, no dissension. Can you say where there were up to 5 other chairmanship candidates, many of whom are still grieving, who were not given an opportunity, which was why I kicked against Section 84, subsection 2 of the present electoral amendment, which brought in direct, indirect, and consensual parameters to conduct election. I said it was not good. If you bring in consensus, consensus is undemocratic, because it will be, you allow the majority to merely say, have their say. But the quiet, powerful, potent minority, the money bags, they will have their say. They will railroad everything through.
Well, Chief,
so there's nothing like consensus. So Jonathan will ask himself, will these people consensualize, whether in PDP or APC, to take on me and agree to work with me? Being a global figure today, internationally respected, will that not diminish him? Will it not extenuate his virtues? Will he help to hype him up or to lower him? These are the questions President Jonathan must ask himself before taking the plunge.
On that note, Chief Michael Ozekhome, I would like to thank you very much for joining us on this Day Live, this Sunday talk show today. Thank you very much indeed.